Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Matt Aston on the line, and he's CEO at Ground Penetrating Radar Systems, also known as GPRS. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Looking forward to it.
All right, Matt. So excited to really get into GPRS, what you're doing as a pioneer in your industry. And really, I mean, we just got a lot of stuff going on today. I think first thing first, I have to say congrats. I understand just crossed your 500th employee, over 20 years in business. I mean, that's not easy. So first off, congrats on that big milestone.
2021's been a big year for us.
Man, I'm excited about this. And let's start this off the way we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Matt, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Matt, what mission matters to you?
So our mission is to create opportunity for the people who choose to work at GPRS. And we do that through providing a sensational service to our customer base, which is the construction industry. The construction industry can be a dangerous place to work in sometimes. And one of the more dangerous components of that industry is when they have to dig or cut in concrete, there's just hidden elements that are difficult to find. So that's what we provide, a sensational service in helping them to avoid those obstacles when whenever they have to break ground or cut or drill in concrete.
Yeah. So I wanna take that a step further. So this idea and this subsurface damage prevention. Tell me a little bit more about this. I don't want to assume our audience kind of understands some of the hazards, number one, or exactly what that means.
Sure. So there are, as we're hearing a lot about infrastructure and this new infrastructure bill that's going through our government, and there are any building has water services, gas, electric, communications, among other types of utilities. And whenever you see a construction crew who's going to dig in the ground or when they're going to cut in concrete, they're taking some risks. They need to know where each of those utilities are before they break ground. The same thing applies in concrete. It's not always utilities, but sometimes there's reinforcing steel that they can't cut through. They want to make sure that they preserve the structural integrity of the building. And so anytime that the ground is being broken or concrete is being penetrated, our company comes into play to identify and help minimize those risks as they proceed with their scope of work.
Yeah. And I want to maybe take this level, and I know this wouldn't be an appropriate example because I know you're working with big universities, institutions, large work. But for the everyday person that's watching this, I was trying to think of a concept, and I remember when I was a kid, and I'm like, you're digging in the background, or you're doing something in the backyard. I grew up in the Midwest in Michigan, and you're digging in the backyard. Maybe you had a little project to do, and you're thinking and your dad tells you, wait, don't dig. Like you have to. There could be other things underground you don't know. You can't go too far. You have to watch this, or you have to do this, and there's precautions. So I guess in layman's terms, like very, very high level, is that what we're talking about?
There's two, two divisions of utility locating. One is private, and one is public. So public is law. If you're gonna dig in the ground, you have to call 811, and they'll come out and they'll mark your utilities for you. That's not really our core business. Our core business is more on the private side. So we'll go onto the private property where 811 may not necessarily go. And that's the core of our business. About 70% of our revenues come from private utility locating.
And so in founding this and working in this niche, like you're known as an industry innovator, and you're known as one of the pioneers there. Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
So one of our part of our culture is we want to talk about widen the gap. We believe that we built a considerable lead over our competition in terms of our performance, in terms of our forward thinking, and we're really happy with where we're at. but we're not content where we're at. And we think there's opportunity to do even better. The title of our meeting today is The Road to 100% Subsurface Damage Prevention.
Yeah.
We are at 99.8% on the jobs that we do right now. And
wow.
That's great, but it's not 100, right?
Yeah.
So we've got some improvements to make, and we think that it's a possibility. It's a lofty goal, but we think that there's a real opportunity for us to lead the charge in helping us realize 100% subsurface damage prevention.
And so, as I mentioned in the opening of this, crossing over 500 employees, and so this is, no company can do what you do by themselves, and and it takes that whole team, it takes that company culture, that cohesiveness to pull off something like this. And that number that you just mentioned, over 98%, I mean, that's a big number. That's a huge number. I know the goal is 100. Say it again one more time.
It's 99.8.
I'm sorry, 99.8. So
right.
you know what I mean? Like, you're there.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about the culture and like internally and like how that comes together.
Yeah. So one thing that we say within GPRS is you cannot have an exceptional business if you don't have exceptional people. So we are extremely focused on getting tremendous people. I mean, I joke with the new project managers that come into our company. I always ask them, how many interviews did you have before you finally got the offer from us? And it's generally, 5, 6 interviews, sometimes more, ride-alongs. We just want to be certain that we're putting a great person in front of our customer. It's a simple theory, but, we said that, better people are going to deliver better results. So we don't mess around when it comes to our performance on a job site. I mean, we're trying to solve some real problems. And we don't want someone who's going to be lax or, they need to be completely focused on what they're doing, when they're on site working for one of our customers. So there's a great deal of independence. I'd say we're very entrepreneurial, but at the same time, we are extremely unified in our effort. It's crazy, but we have got roughly 550 people in the company now.
Wow.
We've got people from Boston to Honolulu and Seattle to Miami, and basically every major city in between. Yet we're entirely unified in this pursuit of this 100% subsurface damage prevention.
What an amazing story. I love to bring stories like this to my audience. And you actually took the words out of my mouth on this question. And I want you to go a little bit further on geographies. So like the areas you're covering and really how you pull that off.
So we started in Northwest Ohio. That's where we're based in Toledo, Ohio. That's where I grew up. And when I first started the business, I was nobody heard of it. That was the biggest challenge in building this company was creating some awareness.
Yeah.
The people that had heard of ground penetrating radar when I first started doing sales, they thought it had to do with finding treasure or looking for archaeological artifacts, and you could probably use it for that. I'm sure people do use it for that, but our focus is really on the construction industry and minimizing our customers' risk with anything subsurface. But so we started in Ohio, and I quickly realized there's a lot more opportunity. When I started selling, I was going to construction companies and engineers in the Toledo area, and quickly realized, hey, there's way more opportunity up in Detroit, which is only 50 miles from where I live. So I started going up there to sell almost every day. And the first person we started getting a few jobs, and the first person I hired, he built us this website. And I'd tell this to his face, but it wasn't great, but it did the job. And there was a company before Google was even prevalent, a company called Overture.com. And they were the first pay-per-click advertising. So, we dabbled in this Overture.com and gave it a shot. and we started getting calls from all over the country.
Wow.
And I remember I was doing a job down in near West Palm Beach, Florida. And it was at a Walgreens distribution center in Jupiter. And I was looking for a place to eat dinner one night, and I just drove down A1A down the coastal highway there.
Yeah.
And this is probably 2005. And
oh, wow.
I just saw crane after a crane after a crane. And this is crazy. You know, they brought this 2-person company down from Ohio to do this job. They can't find anybody closer. And I thought, this is what we need to do. We need to put people in major cities all throughout the United States. And that's how we're going to really grow this business. Wow. And so we did. And we got the Trump Tower job in Chicago in 2006. And when I was on that job, and we were still a small company, you know, five employees maybe in 2006. I was reading a book at night. And Adam, have you ever heard of the book, The E-Myth?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that book. If I would have read that book earlier in my life, I feel like I maybe wouldn't have had, you know, the 15 business failures and finally getting to Mission Matters. I mean, I love Mission Matters, but I just mean like recommend everybody read that book.
So it's I would say it's one of the most, you know, transformational books for me personally.
Totally.
And the core principle in that book is that businesses either fail entirely or they fail to grow because the owner spends too much time working in the business and not enough time working on the business. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was still in the field. I was still doing these jobs every day. And we had a few other people that were working with me. But while I was reading this book at night, I just realization, this is what I need to do. I need to remove myself from the field and focus on growing the business. And so I committed at the beginning of 2007 that I was going to come out of the field to focus on growing GPRS. And I started in sales, where I would be in Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, or Toledo every day. And I'd just be selling. I wouldn't even have appointments lined up. I would just drive to the city and look for job sites or look for tower cranes. And I'd put my hard hat and safety vest on and walk onto the job site and make the construction team aware of the service that I was performing. And it didn't take long before we started getting calls like, "Hey, you were here a couple of weeks ago, and now we're gonna dig, and we could use your service." And it changed the game, and then we started expanding. And from 2008 to 2010, I think we averaged almost one new city per month. We would just drop people into, you know, Charlotte, then we drop them into Raleigh, then we drop them into, I don't know, Denver, and now we have people in 53 cities. It's great.
What an amazing story. And come on, man, you are cold calling. That's old school cold calling. You said, I didn't even have an appointment. I saw a crane and I went to it. Like, there's some entrepreneurs out there right now that are watching this that are maybe have an idea. They have a business or something that they're looking to get out there. And I'm just saying, like, wow, my mind's blown on this one. What did you do? You didn't have an appointment. Drive to the city and go. Like, when you talk about having passion behind what you're doing and determination and belief, like, I can't think of anything more when I hear that story.
So Chicago's a 3.5 hour drive for me. And I would go there and I wouldn't let myself come home until I made 15 stops at construction sites. So I had to get to 15, and I had to talk to somebody at each of the 15 before I could. I wasn't just walking into the trailer, dropping business card off and getting back in the car. I wanted to talk to someone and really try to advance the awareness of the services that we provide.
Man, that's great. What a great story. And I see where and by the way, the E-Myth, the book that you brought up, and again, I'm gonna just repeat that one more time. I recommend everybody take a listen, or I listen to the audiobook version, but read that book. Like it's a great book. And I think some of the lessons in there could, if more people were aware of it, it could save a lot more businesses, in my opinion, just in general, because it's some great
Absolutely.
content.
I totally agree.
So let's go a step further into GPRS. So obviously phenomenal growth on this road to 100%. Like what's next? Like what are some of the things and some of the vision that you have? You're in over 50 cities, as you mentioned. Like what's some of the vision going forward?
So our customers, they all have really the same problem. They don't have a good solution for what's underground. If they did, we wouldn't need to exist. Yeah. So we've developed some ideas around building this database, at each of the sites that we work at, where they can go in and they can see all of our findings at any time. Right now, if you take a typical university, they have sets of plans, and they have a master set of plans that show their utilities, but they're generally not accurate. They're generally there's a lot of data is outdated, or it's incorrect. A lot of stuff doesn't make it onto the drawing. Sometimes it's as designed, not as it was actually built. So, and some of the other knowledge rests in the brains of the 30-year facilities guy who's at some point is going to walk off that campus for the last time. So what we want to do is we want to bring all of that data together accurately and put it into a system that our customers can go to and get a good, accurate sense of everything that they have underground at their facility. And there's one, it's all put together in one spot for them. That's what we're working on right now. We're adding a few other services to our company. We just acquired a company in June, upstate New York, and one of their core businesses was leak detection services. It's not something we've ever done at GPRS, but that's something that we're going to roll out nationally in 2022. Is we're going to begin to offer leak detection services on a national basis.
And so taking us a little bit further through that user experience. So we've mentioned universities once or twice, but I want to go a little bit further into the types of clients that you work with. So give us a little bit more of a feel of who's a good ideal fitting, who gets the most value out of working with your team.
Yeah, I would say so broadly, it's anyone who's going to be digging or cutting through concrete. But the facilities that you'll find us working on frequently, I would say more critical facilities where they can't risk any type of shutdown. So universities, hospitals, manufacturing facilities, energy facilities, power plants, oil refineries. A lot of corporate headquarters. We work at military bases on a regular basis. Really, like then we'll do large infrastructure jobs. Like we've got pipelines that are being put in, and they're concerned about crossing existing pipelines as they're excavating. Wind farms, we'll scan before they excavate to put the collection lines in the ground. So it's really, there's a wide variety of so the work that we do in Seattle is much different than the work that we do in Dallas oftentimes. But any type of construction where ground is going to be broken, you'll see us there.
And this is just from my knowledge. So whenever somebody's doing something like this, like it sounds to me like a company like GPRS is needed, right? Because of the dangers that are underground. And so that being said, if they're not, I'm just curious about the alternative. So if they're not using a company like that, like how's that normally done? They're just basically referencing the plans and, hopefully they're right, or like, give me a little bit of a feel for that. Cause it seems like GPRS or a company like that is the obvious, like you'd want to do that at all times, but give me a little bit of a feel for that.
So I tend to agree with you, but I may be a bit biased.
I'm all right with it. You can be biased. but I'm just thinking about it, like you said, like that. Well, your university example from earlier, like the 30-year-old, facilities manager that at some point retires, and there's this flag that's poking up, or whatever it is, that's like, oh, don't go over there because we had this that happened 10 years ago, and it's in this person's mind, and you're like, well, what happens when that person's not there or in that particular time? Like, it can be tricky. So that's why I'm asking this question, because I'm like, well, what's the alternative?
Yeah, our average fee is generally between $1,000 and $2,000, depending how long we're on site, and the costs that we prevent, the potential damages that we prevent could be easily seven figures. When you consider the direct repair cost, but then also all of the indirect costs for downtime. I'd like to think that people are more responsible than to just blindly dig, especially in a congested urban area. Mm-hmm. But it does happen. But as you said, they may rely only on 811 and not hire a private utility locating company like GPRS, or they may just use 811 and then look at the plans to see if there's anything around. But more often than not, they're going to be surprised if they do that. It's funny. I hear our team joke all the time about, I was on the site and they said, hey, we don't expect anything to be here, but here's what I found. I found the primary electrical feeder running right through where they were going to dig, and
I get it. I'm like, and when they see that, whoever is the person in charge, or whatever that that chain of command was, or the person that finally made that call, is like, whew, I'm glad we did that.
all the time. And then the other thing that we'll hear frequently is, man, I wish I would have known about you when I was on this job three years ago, and we cut through this and you should have called us.
You're like, come on, man. No, I get it, and I'm laughing, but I'm just thinking, I'm putting myself in the shoes of that decision maker on that site that either didn't know or have the resource, or didn't understand what a company like GPRS, what you do, number one, or number two, who made the person that makes the decision not to call. Oh, we don't need that. We have the plan. We got this. And then that happens. It's like, man, that's just double insult and injury there. It hurts.
I don't think it's a mistake that gets made twice. I think that's generally a lesson learned, and change of protocol, so to speak, going forward.
Awesome. Well, Matt, first off, it's been great having you on the show, and I'll just have to ask you, so what's next? Company's growing, lots of great things going. What's next for you? What's next for the company?
Yeah, we are focused on growth. We plan on doubling in size over the next 3.5 years. Ooh. And we'll be close to 1,000 employees at that point in time. I don't plan on leading us outside of the United States, but we've certainly got a lot that we can do here. We had a study done by McKinsey a few years ago that only 30 to 35% of our potential customer base knows that we exist. So there's still tremendous opportunity for growth. We're looking for great people to join our team. We want to build out. We want to continue to innovate and build this out. Look for additional services that we can run that you go hand in hand with preventing that subsurface damage prevention. So
fantastic.
That's where we're focused.
It's awesome. I love bringing success stories like this to my audience. So that being said, if somebody is watching this and they do want to learn more and to connect with your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way to get in touch with us is to just go to our website. We're on, I think, all the social platforms, but there's more and more all the time. But if you just Google GPRS or our website is gp-radar.com. So the dash is a hyphen, gp-radar.com.
Fantastic. And we'll put all that stuff in the show notes so that my audience can just go click on it, make it real easy and simple. So we'll take care of that for you. And speaking of the audience, if you're watching this for the first time and you don't know what Mission Matters is about, so Mission Matters is all about bringing on entrepreneurs, experts, and executives, and really having them share their mission, how they're adding value to the marketplace in the world, and like, why do they do what they do? Our idea is to get content out there that inspires and educates. If that's something that you're into, definitely hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts coming on, and we don't want you to miss a thing. So again, hit that subscribe button. And Matt, really, it has been a pleasure. Congrats on the over 20 years in business, over 500 employees. You're providing opportunity, value. You're helping lives. You're creating. You're definitely providing value in the marketplace, especially when that person that's in charge connects and has that very small expense of what you do versus the potential of a very big expense of making a mistake or being the one that calls that shot that unfortunately may not be the best. So again, really appreciate you coming on the show, Matt.
I really enjoyed talking to you, Adam. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate the opportunity.